So you've probably heard the term slippage before, I'm sure. Now, you want to also understand how it relates to your token and in your price, volatility. All this is extremely important. And that's exactly why we have this LP health check for you as well. So this is the tab that you want to be on. You'll notice some different charts. I'm going to explain to you what you need to pay attention to. But first, let me explain what slippage is. So let's say, for example, someone were to buy $10,000. Well, when they put that money in to buy those tokens, what it will do is it'll shift the price up, and then that's where they will acquire their tokens at. They're not going to get the full $10,000 worth of tokens, because if that was the case, then they could just sell and make a profit, right? So what it does, it says, all right, how much are they looking to buy? And it shifts the price up through the mathematical calculations on the DEX, and that's where they acquire their tokens at. When they sell, it does the same thing. Let's say they had $10,000 and they sold. It'll calculate after the swap where the price will be, and that's the funds that they actually get. The difference between those two is going to be called your slippage, okay? And that's what we're talking about here. So as we look at this over here, now if someone were to put in, let's say $10,000, and we looked at this chart, okay, now you can just scroll down. So if someone bought $10,000, right, you could see how the pool would change. In those regards now, our price would go up 3.36%, okay? So $10,000, given the current liquidity pool settings, will shift the price by 3%. If we also look at a sell then, okay, if we look at our sell volumes, and we had 10,000 here, and $10,000 were sold, it would bring the price down by about 3.25%. So the inverse of what we saw over here. Okay, now here's what I want to show you next. All this, by the way, is a function of the liquidity we have on the decentralized exchange. Now, these formulas are based on Uniswap v2, constant product formula, so they're different for each decentralized exchange, but the same philosophy largely applies. So if we went over here and we looked at, and we had 600,000 in our pool, and we changed that by going to this allocations, and let's say I changed it so now it's at 5%. So now we only have $100,000 of what we're raising inside of our pool. And when I look back over here, now let's look at the same $10,000. Let's see what's happened. So here we have 100,000 in the pool. The $10,000 sell now it's actually affecting our price by 21% towards the upside. The same $10,000, because we changed the liquidity pool and how much was there, it moves it now towards the upside. So someone buying $10,000 will lose about 21% or so due to slippage with how this is being configured. You can see the actual slippage right here. They'll lose 17%. If someone sells, the same exact thing is going to happen here. They're going to also lose due to slippage. They're going to lose some of these tokens, right? They're going to lose 21% as it specifies over here. So when this happens, though, this is why it's such a bad thing, is someone thinks that they're selling 10,000. Well, they're not actually selling $10,000. They're going to get about $8,000 out of this. So they're losing that due to the slippage. The same thing is true over here. Someone thinks that they're buying $10,000 worth. You know, they're not really going to do that. They're going to get about $8,000 worth of the tokens. They're going to lose some, again, due to the slippage of what's happening in the mathematics. All this, by the way, is a function of the liquidity pool. Okay, and this is what I meant, where if you put in a lot, like let's say we made this 60%, okay, instead of 30% like it was before, and we look at now what's happening, the $10,000 buy now only shifts the price by 1.67%. So you can see how at different market cap valuations, how much liquidity you put in there will essentially be able to control your price and how much that fluctuates towards the upside or towards the downside. And that's called volatility, right? And that's why it's really important to be able to figure out and use some of these tools to understand what this volatility could look like, because the last thing you want to have is this pool is all set up. And again, you release a lot of tokens like we talked about before with this one airdrop, right? You release all these tokens are out here, and all those could be sold and literally kill the entire project. They kill the price before it could even get started, right? And this is also why if we're marketing a project, let's say has, like I'll give you one example. One of them, I know one of my clients had a fully diluted valuation of 25 million, couldn't even buy $10,000 without having huge amounts of slippage, right? So all the marketing you're doing there to be able to promote the token, the platform, the ecosystem, and you hope that turns into volume. Well, it won't, because anyone who has that, when they go to buy, it'll show them literally a warning on Uniswap, don't buy this, too much price impact, no good, right? So that's all a function of how that pool was set up in the very beginning. So again, this is something really important to pay attention to. If you really need help in this area, this isn't an area to guess. Usually you're going to do your fundraising, your public sale, and then you're going to figure out of your sale, how much you're going to put inside that pool. There's also some things in advance you do want to work through, and that's also why I really recommend you working with someone like myself who's a consultant or an advisor that can guide you in the right area here. But again, we'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk about investor ROI.